Veterans Affairs motto is to care for him who shall have borne the battle. Since 1865, that's been the country's promise. But a new Inspector General report raises serious doubts about whether the VA has enough staff to keep it. Dr. Celine Gounder joins me now to explain what's going on here. So, Celine, we've heard the struggles of the VA for years now, but according to this report, it's actually gotten worse.
This is serious, and it's getting worse. The VA Inspector General estimates that across all 139 VA medical centers, there are severe staffing shortages, and these staffing shortages have gotten 50% worse over the last year. And this is even before we've seen the summer buyouts, people leaving voluntarily. So things are probably even tighter at this moment.
For its part, what's the VA got to say about this?
Well, so we reached out to the VA, and they do dispute the vacancy figures. They sent us a statement saying the report simply lists occupations facilities feel are difficult for which to recruit and retain. So the results are completely subjective, not standardized, and unreliable.
Secretary of the VA also defending this by saying there's a nationwide shortage of medical workers in general. Is that part of this whole thing here? Is that a factor?
Well, that is true. There aren't enough doctors, clinicians to go around everywhere. And the U.S. is projected to be short about 86,000 physicians by 2036. Behavioral health and primary care are major areas of shortage across the country as well as within the VA.
There's a new plan in Congress to expand this access to non-VA care. Privatization, that's been talked about before. Would that solve some of this? Would that help?
Well, if you don't have enough doctors to go around outside the VA, that's going to add to some of the wait lists in those other external facilities. And it's not clear that that's really going to solve the situation for veterans.
Is there any solution anywhere in sight?
Very good question. I think it's going to be a combination of how do we train more healthcare workers, diversify the workforce. And, there's a lot of talk about tech solutions to help offload some of the administrative burden. So to be continued.
Hello. Bobby Jones here from MeidasTouch and VALOR Media Networks. Imagine you're 18 years old and you decide to go serve your country. Your friends tell you you're crazy, you're throwing your life away. That's hard. You shouldn't do that. But you do it anyway. You do it because you want to be and do something that is greater than yourself. And so you go and you fight the nation's wars. It took a toll physically, mentally, but you thought it was worth it because you were helping not just your country, but other people around the world. And then you come home and you need to receive the health care that was promised to you when you signed up. You need to receive it because your knees just don't work the way they should, or your muscles twitch, or when you wake up in the morning, there's a constant pain in your lower back from wearing 80 pounds of gear and battle rattle for years and multiple deployments. And then you look around to get that health care and you have to wait days, weeks, even months to be seen by the Veteran Administration. And you're asking yourself, is this how it always is? Is this how America's always treated vets? You get frustrated, only to find out that the lack of care that you're getting, the delay in services is not because people are trying to do this deliberately, but an administration is systemically destroying the healthcare system that you're a part of because they think it's one, too costly, and two, they don't want to be bothered with it. They'd rather privatize it. Well, for many of us, we don't have to imagine, because that's exactly what's happening right here, right now in the United States to its veterans. The VA recently had an Inspector General report come out, and The Guardian and The Economist both picked it up, but it's been very underplayed in American mainstream media. The conclusion of this report is the VA, the Veteran Affairs, the Department of Veterans Affairs, who is responsible for the largest public health care system in America, is not just short-staffed, it is critically short-staffed to the point where veterans are suffering and in some cases dying, waiting to get help. Since the beginning of this year in 2025, there are 86% shortage of critical nurses, 82% of critical doctors, and the numbers are getting worse. As a matter of fact, September 30th, because of an deferred retirement or resignation plan that the administration pushed as part of the whole Doge Elon Musk monstrosity, an additional 10,000 will leave the VA. Leaving the VA not only a shadow of itself, but nowhere near capable to execute what it is supposed to do for veterans. Now, this is happening at a very inopportune time because those of us who served during the global war on terrorism that started September 11, 2001 and didn't end until 2021 served in the nation's longest continuous conflict. In 250 years, this generation of veterans that are now getting to retire or now close to retirement are going into a VA that has been purposely gutted. The question is why? Why would the Trump administration do that? We're going to talk about that in this video. We're going to talk about the cost of going to war that no one wants to talk about. But most importantly, we're going to talk about the effects that it's having on America's veterans. The Inspector General report that was released here very recently showed a couple of things that were just staggering to anybody from the outside looking at it. First of all, over 5,800 core healthcare workers have left the VA since the beginning of 2025. That includes 2,000 nurses, 800 doctors, and this has been accelerated by policy because the reduction plan that Trump has imposed is eventually going to remove 30,000 people from the workforce. They've already started using attrition, hiring freezes, buyouts as deferred resignations. And most importantly, they have broken off and destroyed relations between the unions that provide the nurses and doctors and the federal government. Nurses have been complaining about the deteriorating conditions in VA facilities for months, over 100 formal complaints filed. But because the Trump administration has broken the labor agreement between the nurse and doctors unions and the VA, they can ignore the complaints. As a matter of fact, not only are they ignoring them, they're not even acknowledging them. As bad as that seems, it's going to get worse because September 30th, the last day before the fiscal year, that is when all those who were forced to take their deferred resignation so they can have some semblance of benefits will come off the books. That's another 10,000 employees in the Veterans Administration. So you have a group that's already critically short of having the people to provide the services needed for the largest, basically, group of veterans since World War II. You force them to retire early, and you're telling us that the service and the quality that veterans will receive will suffer no delay. There'll be no drop in quality. It's all going to work out. The question is, how the hell do you expect that to happen? Well, let's talk about what they want to do. Like all things that are happening with this administration, look no further for the, quote, mandate for leadership, unquote, commonly known as Project 2025. Within Project 2025, there is a whole section on how to deal with veterans and the Department of Veteran Affairs. The bottom line is they think caring for veterans is too costly. The same administration that loves to flex the military and talk about lethality and all of these things to seem tough does not want to deal with the fallout of sending troops to do exactly that. It's diabolical because they want the photo ops. They want the projection of power. They want everything. And as long as it's not them having to do it, as in no one in the Trump family serving, none of these people are doing it. As long as they don't have to and they can look tough, that's all that matters. Let me ask you a question. When the Army had its 250th birthday parade, did you see any disabled veterans in that parade? The answer is no, because Trump detests, he literally hates disabled veterans. He has been on record. The one time he had to meet them in his first term in the White House, he was like, I never want to see them again. He did not like seeing the actual cost of freedom, the physical debilitation of freedom thrown in front of him. So saying that, Project 2025 wants to eventually privatize the healthcare for veterans. Private companies will charge the government a ton of money. Hell, they'll over-refer and then under-deliver because as long as they get paid, there's no incentive for them to actually give veterans the care they need. Now, the privatization is one thing. The defunding right now is another, because as they're trying to transition to privatization, even though they will deny it, it's in Project 2025, they're following it, they're going down that path. While that's happening, the current care that veterans are supposed to be receiving is staggeringly underutilized. I mean, when I say guys are waiting months to see people at the VA, I'm a veteran that has had to wait weeks and months to see people at the VA. It's by design. Some of these men and women have been on wait lists for months and even years, and many of them have passed away waiting to be seen. You can Google it. You can look on social media because veterans are starting to talk about this. It's terrible because you are expected while you're on active duty to give up everything. Being a veteran, especially if you serve any long extended period of time, can have a devastating effect, not just on you, but your family. The broken marriages, the missed birthdays, all of these things that you sacrifice, not to mention your physical and mental health to do it. And then the help you were promised that you're supposed to get referred to if need be, is not there because they think it's too costly. But the evil thing about privatization to me of the Veteran Administration's healthcare system is very simple. You're still trying to make money off of the backs of people who served regardless of what was going on. And I think there's just an absolute different level of cruelty to this. Veterans, active duty service members, we're not stocks. We're not something to make money off of. We are people who are serious about what we do, who are deployed into the most dangerous situations, and we're willing to do it. We're not political tools to be sent to Washington, D.C. because you need a distraction from the Epstein file release. We're not people who are put in the back corner because, oh, well, that person lost an arm. Oh, they lost a leg. We don't want to see them. No, we're human beings that deserve dignity just like anybody else. We don't want special treatment. We just want what was promised. And this Inspector General report on veteran affairs shows a blatant and deliberate plan in execution to deny all of us who gave our best years of our life to this country, the right to be treated with basic dignity, the same dignity that we fought to protect for everybody else. And that is a betrayal.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.